So here we've got a 6-year-old Andalusian warm blood mare. She's never seen the umbrella before. So you can see I'm folding it up. I'm going to make it as small as it can go before I introduce it to her. She's having a bit of a look at it. That's all good. Now I'm going to rub her with it a little bit, with it down like this. It doesn't make so much noise, although it makes a little bit of noise, just to get her happy with the feeling of it and to get her to understand that the umbrella's not going to hurt her. Quite important to move her feet every now and then. Your horse might just lock up. Sometimes when they're a little bit afraid and they don't want to show that, they actually freeze a bit, and if they do freeze a bit, then it's just possible that they might also explode. So you don't want them to keep their feet still for all that long. You can see she's actually not frozen, she's not frightened. So it's not a big problem, but it's a good thing to remember when you're sacking them out with something new. Now I've taken the next step, which is just to undo it. Now it's going to make a little bit of noise when it rubs on her, and it's going to flap about a little bit as well. It's a bit hard to tell, but we've got a very windy day here today. So I'm not actually going to ride her on this particular day with the umbrella. So today is just all about getting her sacked out with it. Do be careful, of course, if you're using an umbrella, that it doesn't turn inside out or something to scare them. This is not about scaring the horse. What it's about is about teaching the horse that if it does get afraid, just to look to you for guidance. So what we want her to understand is that as long as I'm there, she's not going to get hurt. So any new object that I introduce won't hurt her, but I'm just going to gently show her the different things that the object can do. Right there where it opened, she looked a bit startled and jumped a little bit, and that's fine. So this is the hardest thing really, is once it's open, is to have it above her. And obviously we're going to need that if we're going to ride the horse with the umbrella. And so this is the part where we really need to concentrate on breaking it down for the horse. So just having it open in front of her is the easiest thing, so she can see it. And now I'm going to take it to the side of her. One thing to remember here, if you keep your hand on the horse, that's quite reassuring for the horse. So see, as I walk around, I've got my hand on her rump. That really helps the horse. It helps the horse know where you are, and it just reassures the horse. So right here, I can swap hands now, put my right hand on her. I don't actually want her to walk around, so I'm going to move her feet a little bit. And I will change to doing something a little bit different. And that's good. She's a little bit surprised when I come out the other side. You can see that she's very alert, she's very aware of the umbrella, but she's not actually frightened in as much as she's not moving her feet very much, which is really good news for me. There we are. Of course, the umbrella makes a bit of a funny sound. Do be careful though that you don't stab them with the pointy end or something. The last thing you want to do, of course, is hurt the horse or frighten the horse. So if you find your horse's head is very high and your horse is moving its feet and you're having to actually hold the horse in place, then what's happened is you've just gone too far too fast. So go back a few steps and reintroduce it, perhaps fold it up again, perhaps walk the horse with you next to the with you holding the umbrella. Different things like that will just break it down for the horse and make it a little bit simpler. There, that makes a pretty funny noise. This, like anything else, is a learning experience for the horse that's going to be really good, but it's the same if you're teaching this or you're teaching flying changes. What you need to do is get the horse to understand what is expected of the horse, and what is expected of the horse really here is to either stand still or in a moment, perhaps to follow me with the umbrella. What is not expected or not wanted is a flight response, and that's what we're always trying to avoid. Horses repeat what they practice. So if, let's say, I had this horse on a 12-foot line and she was, running around or running away from the umbrella, that would be a behavior that I should expect her to repeat. So every time I practice that, every time I allow her to exercise the flight response, I'm reinforcing that behavior. So when I ride her and something scares her, if she bolts, I should be expecting that. I've taught her that behavior. I've taught her that as a possible response to something. So it's like when you, every time you saddle your horse up, if you then put it on a 12-foot line and let it run around you and buck and carry on, that's a behavior you're reinforcing. So that's why I never do that, because I never want to tell the horse that the right answer is to leave or the right answer is to buck or kick. And so you have to be very careful, what you teach. This is a good thing to teach because we can't teach the horse not to be afraid. And it's a really interesting thing to remember. We can't, the horse, this is quite an emotional horse, this mare. She's a tendency, she can really run around the paddock and get quite frightened of things in the paddock. But she's not under saddle. And that's because of these sorts of exercises. While it's the first time I've done this with the umbrella, she has had other exercises where she's learned that if she is just quiet and she's with me, she's not going to get hurt. So while I can't teach her not to be afraid, I can teach her how to control a fear or what to do when she becomes afraid. And for her, it's to relax and to look to me for what the answer is. And the answer is either going to be to move or to stand still. Now, if she wants to move, I'm always going to allow her to move. I need movement to train. What happens quite quickly when you stop the horse or prevent the horse from moving is that the horse gets very frustrated and more scared. So allow the horse to move when you can. Now, this is interesting because she's got a very good solid cue to move her hips to the fence when I get up there. You can see her head is quite high. She's just that little bit nervous. So what's happened is she's forgotten that cue. So there I go, I put the umbrella down and I'm using the umbrella as a whip. So I'm tapping her on the hindquarter, just a reminder of that cue, that she can move her hips to the fence so I can get on. Makes the umbrella jolly useful. So while I'm up here, I'm going to just make sure she's all right with the umbrella really high above her head, because that's what it's going to look like for her when I'm riding. The other thing that might happen is I might have to lose the umbrella in a hurry. So I want to make sure she's happy with it falling to the floor. The last thing I want to do is get on her and have her be afraid of the umbrella, because she'll leave or buck or do something and I can't ride a buck. So I need to ensure that they're not going to do that before I get on with something like an umbrella. And that's good. And she knows very well, just after you've mounted, just to stand still by the mounting block or the fence, wherever I've got on. So that's tremendous. We'll let her do that for a moment. What I realise now, once I am on and I'm holding the umbrella, is that I haven't taught this horse to neck rein. So that is going to be my next place to go with this horse, is to teach her to neck rein so that I can hold an object, be it a polo stick or an umbrella or something else, and actually control direction as well. It's a little bit difficult to control direction when you haven't got any neck reining, but she gets it. What I really wanted to do is just, make sure that she can walk while I hold the umbrella. So this day, which was a few days after we did the initial sacking out with her with the umbrella that you saw earlier, which was really windy, this is a very still day. And it's a perfect day for your first ride with a novel object, because it's not going to blow out of your hand, it's not going to turn inside out. You're much more likely to be successful on a nice calm day like this. So do make sure that you pick the right day. Also today, all I'm doing is just walking. And I think if she has a successful day, just walking a circle or two with the umbrella and stopping and having it thrown on the ground, tomorrow or next time I come out and bring the umbrella, we're probably going to be up to trotting. Then perhaps a week after that, we might be up to cantering. And I just keep it on the side of the arena here so I can pick it up, maybe do 1 minute with it at the end of the lesson. It's going to be a nice experience for the horse. The lesson will be over. It'll be the last thing she remembers. It was easy. She didn't have to do too much. And really, really successful. So, of course, it gives the horse a lot of confidence as well. And that's what we're building, confident horses and riders.